Hello out there. We're live streaming now, but I'll start in about 14 minutes. Hello. Over YouTube. Hello. Okay, we got another 10 minutes before we go live. I'm checking LinkedIn. I'm checking YouTube. Checking Twitter or X. And lastly, I'm checking Facebook. Okay. Okay, so I got to turn off the volume on these. Okay. Turned off the volume on Facebook, X, and LinkedIn and YouTube. Okay, another 7 minutes we start. I've got Facebook up here, X here. Over here, I got LinkedIn and I got YouTube. If there's any questions. Start in 7 minutes. Not sure who's here. Never did this before live stream, but we're very excited. We came up with this idea of the network recently and lots of positivity. Okay. Okay, we're going to start in 4 minutes. We're live now on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Leave comments if you'd like, any questions. Very excited to talk to everybody. Of course, I'm hosting it on StreamYard, but it's live stream on the 4 feeds: Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. November 19th. I wonder if anybody was affected by the outage yesterday. Took down a lot of sites. Cloudflare, AWS. I know our site was down. joeypinz.com was down for at least a couple hours. All right, we will go live in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes. Very excited to talk to everybody. Well, this is kind of a monologue, but hopefully there'll be some questions will come up in the streams. Another minute, and we will start. Looks like we have a bunch of people here. They're viewing. Welcome, everyone. Some of you registered. I appreciate that. It's 11:59 a.m. here on the East Coast. I'm in Tampa, Florida, where it's about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Beautiful sunny day. And it is noon. Hello, everybody. Joe Panone, Joey Pinz. Really thank you for your time today. It's noon here on the East Coast in the States. I want to talk today about the new launch of the Joey Pinz Podcast Network and how it can help you. Ask any questions. We're live streaming on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. It's hosted on StreamYard. Never used it before, so it's the first time. Hopefully there'll be no hiccups. Look forward to doing this on a more periodic basis, maybe even monthly. But let's continue. Ask with any questions, and hopefully it'll be worth your time. Those that know me, I'm not sure, but we have the podcast started over 4 years. now. We're almost to 800 episodes since 2021. We've got almost 1 million total followers now. Our bi-monthly digest goes out bi-monthly, twice a month. 75,000 emails, subscribers, fully bootstrapped internally. I completed two TEDx talks just recently in the last 2 months. Book dropped last month as well. Podcast talks about many different things. Of course, those that you've known of you that know my plight, I gained a lot of weight when I started my MSP, my tech business back in the 90s. And I lost a lot of weight. People ask me how. And I always say discipline. So it's the kind of common thread throughout all the episodes. It's just not tech. It's health, fitness, sports, wellness, art, and culture as well. Take a look if you haven't. Many of you have probably been on the podcast that are watching today. So the idea of the Joey Pinz Podcast Network, an overview. So we got so many requests. The idea is to make a turnkey podcast network. So many people want to start a podcast, but they don't want to do the editing. They just want to be able to do it and kind of drop it away. So we built this Joey Pinz platform now that can support many. That's the general overview of many podcasts. So the vision, of course, is to make podcasting accessible and strategic and scalable for everyone, to have authentic connections and conversations, and to centralize the production and the distribution and the promotion as well, which are all can be very difficult for many of the podcast hosts. So I'll go over this quickly. Those of you who know my story, I started my MSP back in the 90s. We bought a bunch of companies, and we got ConnectWise and Kaseya at 2007, and joined a peer group, and we made an internal tool to do dashboarding, and my peers in my peer group said, why don't you sell this? So we started selling it. It was called CW Dash. Then vendors asked us to advertise in it. And then before you know it, we were making more money giving it away than we were selling it. So in 2019, I sold the MSP, and we continued to do consulting with these vendors that wanted to work with us through the application, started asking for a lot more other things like MSP hand raises and branding, etc. So we launched the podcast in 21. We launched MSPinfluencer.com 2023, 2 years ago. This month, we've got over 25,000 weekly visitors, more than 80,000 subscribers that subscribe to our weekly newsletter. We call it The Pulse. We've got almost 80% open rate on it. And now here we are in 2025, nearing the end of 2025, running third and heading home. And of course, we've got the podcast and the MSP. Forza Dash is the actual name of the platform. But that's just a little bit about me. Thank you for your indulgence. Let's get to it. So why start this podcast network? Why do it now? The idea is that the audiences grow rapidly. I spoke at IT Nation a couple weeks ago to a great crowd, and we talked about how authenticity wins. If you're looking to expand in your business, to actually talk to them, have a great conversation before actually becoming a partner and possibly selling to them. But authenticity certainly wins. AI has made things a lot easier in the podcasting world, make us faster, smarter for all kind of storytelling. And of course, I get so many requests. I want to start a podcast, but how do I do it? I just want to do the conversation and that's it. I'm getting questions already. Oh, hello, Austin. Yeah, Austin asked about building the audience. It's 4 years old. And so just a little bit at a time. And just keep cracking at it. But we can help in that. In what we're doing here. Great to see you, Austin. Hope all is well. So just some quick stats about podcasting. There's over 5 million podcasts now worldwide. That's the last number I heard. 88% stop after 10 episodes. Over 90% stop after a year. So we're top 2% globally. We've just been consistent. We drop every Wednesday, and we've just been very consistent, and that's part of the game. If I go on to more podcast industry and what impact, 460 million global listeners. That's 2 years ago. Almost 80% of Americans are aware of podcasts. 42% listen monthly. Over 80% spend more than 7 hours a week listening. The audience has become more educated, higher income, trusted by 60% of listeners. We saw in the last election here in the States how the candidates got on podcasts for 1, 2, 3 hours. And even if you disagree with the candidate, you still find that they're a person, right? You can't hide after having real conversations. And we're just not talking about a bunch of sample questions, shoot, return. Having real conversations really help. And that's what podcasts do. They're unbiased. We've become the de facto area where I just mentioned unbiased news updates. So I'll just talk. Joe Rogan is the top podcaster in the world right now. Last I heard is 25 million average views per episode. That's more than MSNBC, Fox, CBS, ABC, NBC, all put together. All of them put together on news and cable news. It does not beat what one episode is of Joe Rogan. So the idea is to have authentic conversation, fill in the gaps. And I like to think that we do that at Joey Pinz as well. Case study, we saw recently in the last few months how CBS is going to be canceling the late night show. You know, there's 200 employees. There's a full $25 million hemorrhaging they're losing every year. You know, this can all become my prediction is that they will cancel that and the host will create a podcast. It'll be less people and it'll be more impactful because it'll be available not just on CBS, it'll be available on YouTube and Facebook and X and everywhere. So it'll widen the audience. So your next client isn't Googling. They'll be scrolling through short videos looking for you. Think about that for a moment. By the way, I see some other questions coming in. Ask at any time. I'll do my best to answer. So what we offer. So the idea is we offer concept and strategy. We can do the recording in the first few. I can actually host some, record some of your leadership, then pass it on to you. We'll do all the editing. AI will create the transcription and the SEO and the titles and distribution. We'll provide analytics and reporting. So there's 3 essential recording types for the podcast that we see. We could see for you, primarily all business owners here that are going to be watching and listening. So the first would be just internal. So your leadership, management, anybody within your organization, have a real conversation with them, make them podcast episodes. People want to do business with people that they like, make it real conversations. Next would be actually talk to clients and get like testimonials. You know, how was it working with this business? So talk with clients. And then lastly, talk with prospects. If your target is in your geography, reach out to them and say, hey, we'd love to have you on the podcast. We're interviewing local businesses here in Tampa. You know, do you have an hour for me that we can talk? I can come to you. We could do it virtually. Just going to have a genuine conversation about what it took to create your business, etc. So we see those as the 3 recording types for the podcasts. So each episode will have an introduction. We'll have the full edited episode, and then we'll create 3 shorts. So 3 shorts, the shorts are 20 to 60 seconds. They're taken from the episode. The idea is that we would post them all on YouTube, but you would get those shorts and then push them all out on your social media, on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, etc. So keep pushing those shorts out because we mentioned before, your next client isn't finding you in Google. They're finding you in videos. So that would be how each episode would work. So the workflow would be, we'd plan, we'd record, either I would do it or you would do it. My team would edit it. We'd report on it. We'd edit, then we'd publish it. So we drop on Wednesday, we'd publish it all to the social media platforms, promote it on our joeypinz.com. On you would get your own YouTube channel, promote it there, and then report. But you'd have to push everything out after that. So that would be the actual workflow. So again, as AI, as a creative partner, it amplifies creativity, doesn't replace it. It does all the tagging and the guest research and the trend analysis. I even have it, creating some sample questions that I could ask. I upload the bio to it, but it's integral into podcasting success. So the publishing platforms, the video will be on YouTube. You get your own channel. It'll be under our parent, Joey Pinz YouTube channel. And then it'll be pushed out on all of the podcasting platforms: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Podcast Index, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. All of these, it'll be pushed out to all of those. So that'll be the audio, and the video will be on YouTube. So it'll be available where anybody gets their podcasts. The idea with the startup is that we'd create an introduction. Your first month, we'd actually create the introduction video, and we create a plan to roll out all of the episodes. The branding, we'd bring your branding in. We'd come up with some names of the podcast, decide what we want to do on branding, what the color should be, etc. The artwork, the landing page. We would do all that for you. We'd work with you and your team. Reporting. We would report monthly on the release dates, on publishing frequency and production timeline, etc., distribution, the placement summary, all of these things we'd report on. We all use AI to help with that, by the way. So the pricing comes down to, it all depends on how many podcast episodes you want to drop a month. We offer 1, 2, or 4 episodes per month. There's a startup fee and there's a monthly fee. The startup fee would only be charged once. That's to create the introduction and landing page, etc., your YouTube channel, and then monthly fee after that. So the base we'll do is 6 months. We do offer 12, 24, and 36. We're offering something today. We'll give you $1,000 off the setup fee on any annual package, but that's how pricing is. So how many episodes do you want to have per month? Remember, close to 90% stop after 10 episodes. Another over 90% stop after the year. The idea is to keep consistent, get it out there. So that's how we've come up with the pricing. So where is the network promoted, right? Because there'll be lots of great members that'll be in this network. It'll be promoted on Joey Pinz, on mspinfluencer.com, which is our great MSP site, our Pulse newsletter, the Digest, which is the Joey Pinz newsletter that's bi-monthly, LinkedIn, of course. But you have to do the actual promotion to your prospects. We'll make those shorts. You'll get them out, send emails out, put them on your social medias of those shorts that we have and the episode. You'll have to do that as well. We'll promote it as we can in our areas, but the final promotion's got to be at your end. Just don't want to have these sit and wait. You do want to push them out. So our creative philosophy, of course, I enjoy podcasting incredibly. I just love having real conversations. I've been using question-based learning all my life, the Socratic method. But the philosophy, of course, is blending discipline, storytelling, and AI-driven insight for the Joey Pinz network. It's going to create a new standard of consistent and creative excellence. The members that we already have on really love it. So it's been kind of in this beta area, but now today is the official launch. So the next steps, confirm your interest. If you are, select a package. We'll create a kickoff call, and then we'll start recording. The idea is in that first month to get all the introduction, everything off, and then start actually creating the episodes. So why just not build your own website, or why join the network? Certainly, if you have the ability, you have the editors, etc. When I talk to podcasters, it's the editing, it's the distribution, it's all difficult for them. So that's why I want to take that burden off of them. But our platform's been around for over 4 years now, almost 800 episodes, real deep penetration, of course, in the MSP ecosystem. But any business would apply here, would work here. The idea is to make it turnkey. You don't have to have any of these tools. You don't have to hire any subcontractors to do the editing and things like that and the branding. We would take care of all that. We would promote it on our channels. Of course, the ultimate is to you to promote it to your socials, to your prospects yourself. And that's it. I did create a QR code to has just a quick little survey if you want me to send you this deck. There's our contact information. I have some questions here. Yeah, you saw the pricing. The pricing is there. Minimum 6-month term. I see that. Again, we're up live here at Facebook, on X, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Another question here about, okay, so the question is about how to find guests. This always kinds of come up. This comes up. So the idea is if you're depending on who your guests are. So if you're a business in an MSP in a particular geography and you wanted to interview some manufacturing firms, we would help you create some templates, get their emails, send it out to them. Not a pitch at all. We'd make it very clear. We want to be on your podcast. We want to learn about your company and about you, how it can help our viewers. Be very careful not to pitch. Come up with a list, come up with kind of a dream 50 of local business that you like to get on, people specifically. LinkedIn is always a good place for business to ask them. When I ask people on LinkedIn to be on the podcast, 99% say yes. They're just interested in being on a podcast, interested in having real conversation. But, finding guests, like I said, I had those 3 kind of categories. First would be your internal leadership, then maybe some of your clients, and then prospects. We don't even have to do in that order, by the way. We can have some prospects on, do some other your leadership, or some clients can be sprinkled in every now and then. But the idea is to keep on creating content, keep on creating those shorts. Who would do the hosting? I mean, we would do the hosting for some of the leadership unless you have somebody designated there. But when it comes to interviewing prospects, that would be somebody on your team. And they would just ask great questions and we'd coach them a bit. I had a session I mentioned a couple of weeks ago at IT Nation on just listening and having a real conversation. Just don't rattle off questions. Just don't, when you listen, actually listen. Don't wait to speak. There's a big difference. Questions about, why should we do it with you and not by ourselves? If you have all of the ability and tools and talent to do it yourself, you should do it. Definitely do it. We have some things that we've learned. We're willing to share. Again, we were asked to do this. We were asked, hey, we just want to have a podcast, but we don't want to do any of this kind of work. We just want to create it and have somebody distribute it, somebody edit it, somebody create the shorts for us. And we'll take it from there. So that's what we're doing there. It's simple. It's just a startup and then a monthly charge for what you need. And the idea is to get it out there. I had case studies of businesses that worked very well, and they were able to, once you have a discussion with a prospect, that's a genuine discussion. It's about their business, about what's going on in your geography. It's not a pitch at all. You get to understand them a little bit. What a great advantage that is for you to be able to have a genuine discussion before talking about partnering and engagement. That's the idea of the podcast. That's why it's a winner and it's popular. That's why video is going to rule out. It's going to help in this area because they're real conversations. Any other questions? I was only planning on doing this for a half hour. It's 20 minutes now. 20 after 12 here, Eastern time, New York time. Any other questions? I can leave it open. What if we don't have somebody okay, if you don't have anybody to do the questions, we could certainly help there. We'd help a little bit. It just wouldn't be possible to interview all the prospects. So we'd have to come up with a solution there of how. I mean, I think people get a little gun shy of being a host. I mean, being a host is the easy part because you're just asking questions. If you watch any of when I have my discussions, I get out of the way. You hear me talking here, but I really don't talk that much. Any other questions about the network? I don't see any other questions. Oh, yep, I already answered that. More questions about building the audience, just one piece at a time. I can tell you my just general philosophy of my conversations, and I mentioned this in my talk a couple of weeks ago. I also mentioned it in the book, by the way. You get the book, go to joeypinz.com/book. But so Quentin Tarantino, the great director, writer, producer, has a philosophy that he makes movies that he likes for himself and others can come and watch. So that's my philosophy too when I speak. I don't think, hey, are people going to like this? I never think of that. I just have a real conversation. And my hope is that people will understand that it's real and want to listen and learn and grow from it. Great podcast that I listen to when I admire hosts, I say, oh, wow, that's a great question. I can't wait for the answer. Some of the greatest compliments I get was, I didn't even know we were recording. I thought we were just having a conversation. That's the idea. That's the idea. Just have a real conversation. I don't even like to call it an interview. Call it a conversation. Interview seems one-sided. Like a job interview, you have to impress or you have to persuade or convince. Have a real conversation. The general cadence is I usually talk about personal things. I get a little bit of information about my guest. I have a bio area on the podcast. You want to be a guest, you click on it on joeypinz.com and talk about some of their hobbies and their personal interests, and then go into some of the business things and what's interesting there. And then I have about a set of 5 or 6 questions that I ask all of my guests, almost 800 now, the same questions, and they answer. That's generally the cadence that I have of every episode. Any other questions? We're coming up almost on the half hour. All right, I see comments here about, getting guests. No, we wouldn't want to do it under 6 months because really have to ask, how do you measure success? If you plan on doing a podcast for 1 or 2 months and getting 3 episodes up and you don't get any work, or, that it's not a good enough sample set. I want at least 10 episodes out there, at least 10, as that's the minimum. And once they're out, they can't come back, right? They're there. I much prefer an annual or more. Look at this as another point of pipeline, another entry to your pipeline. These prospects that you're going to talk to, have real conversations with, right? Understand, just like any good sales call, you're asking questions, you're doing a lot of listening. Again, more questions on the audience. You could see we're on all the social medias there at the Joey Pinz. We're on X, YouTube, Facebook, etc. All at the Joey Pinz. Kind of keep it consistent. I did put a QR code up there if you want to scan and get this deck. I'd be happy to do that. Any other questions? I thank you so much for your time today. This was our first live stream. It was very exciting. And any other questions? YouTube, LinkedIn. Twitter, X, and on Facebook. Do I have podcasts with multiple guests? I don't like to do that. I like to have one-on-ones. The problem with panels, and you even see it on some shows, is that it's not a real conversation. Just kind of ask a question and each of them answer, and then you ask another question. I mean, I want to be able to retort. I want to be able to question something that they asked. I've done it a couple times with two people, and I don't like it. I prefer one-on-one, a real conversation. Great question. Another question I get is live streaming. I don't live stream any of the podcasts. This is what I generally find what happens. Again, this is just purely anecdotal. This is me. But I find that when I do a live cast with somebody that I'm having a conversation with on the podcast, they act differently because it's not just me they're talking to. They know that there's an audience out there. So they kind of, look towards the camera and they answer differently and the dynamic changes. I'd rather just have one-on-one, have my editors look at it. We won't cut anything out unless something happens, and then just release it. We drop on Wednesday. So as far as live streaming, I generally don't do it because of that. The guest acts differently. And I prefer the one-on-one. So if they want multiple guests, just do them separately. This is the way we do it. Now, certainly I mentioned Joe Rogan. You'll see he'll have multiple guests, or Lex Friedman. I've never seen him do multiple. He's only one. Andrew Huberman. I've only seen him do one, actually. I know Joe Rogan prefers one, by the way, but sometimes he'll do more than one. Some of the big ones, it may differ, but I prefer one-on-one to have a real conversation. Any other questions? Really, really appreciate everybody's time today. First time I've done a live stream. The term webinar, is it dead? Did it leave with COVID? I mean, what's the difference between a webinar and a podcast? I don't think anything. What's the difference between a live stream, what we're doing now, and a podcast? I'll record this, I'll put it up, other people can watch it, but I'd put them all under podcast. I wrote a blog about it a couple of months ago. I just think it's a new twist. Oh, question about audio and video. Okay, very good question. So the future is video, but right now, Apple doesn't support video. It's only audio. So we will put the audio version up there. But YouTube will be the main area. It'll be full video conversations. But everybody else, if they want to listen on their phone or listen to the other those podcasting lists, the audio will be there. I don't know why Apple doesn't support video on podcasts, by the way. I don't know why. I don't know why Apple does a lot of things they do, by the way, but that's another conversation for another time. Another minute. A question came in. Yeah. Multiple guests. I wanted to stop at 12:30 unless there's more questions going to happen here. Really appreciate your time. I know everybody's so busy and there's so many of these that are out there, but we're excited about this podcast network. So many requests to do it. A couple of weeks ago at IT Nation was really the kind of culmination of just so many requests. We want to do this. How do we do it? The podcasting row at IT Nation 2 weeks ago in Orlando was incredible. There was 8 of us. It was really the best I've ever seen in the industry. Well, if there's no more questions, I've taken up 30 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I really appreciate it. Reach out with any questions. Joe@joeypinz.com. You can catch me on mspinfluencer.com as well. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day. Be well. Stay disciplined.